Hi guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books, two books. So the first book is a historical romance, and the second book is a contemporary murder, cozy mystery murder romance. You have been noticing, like, I usually but like decide which book I'm going to do, like random, at complete random, right? But some weeks there's a connection with both books, right? So like it's strange how that happens sometimes, you know? And this one is really like love the characters, didn't like the plot, versus didn't like the characters, love the plot kind of week. So the first one is The Detective Duke Unexpected Lords, Book 1 by Scarlett Scott. Now I will say this was a soft DNF. Soft because I think it's just like I was in a mood, you know, and if you're an emotional like reader, you get it, you know. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm really excited about this, and then you get into it and you're like, ew, I'm you know what, I'm not enjoying myself. So I was like, let me put it away until I'm in a better mood, because I don't want to like just throw the baby with the bathwater kind of a thing, you know, because maybe next week or 2 weeks from now I'll really enjoy it. But I didn't, like I said, I soft DNF'd it. I was like page 66 or something like that when I was just like, no. It is 324 pages. Usually I try to get to like page 100 before I just like, but I really like, I started this book, you know how I start books during the week, like early in the week, like, you know, when I'm done with work, de-stressing, things like that. And I kept finding reasons to put it down. And I kept finding reasons to not pick it up. And I was like, okay. That's not fair, you know? So this is, I really like the characters, but I didn't particularly like the plot book. So Hudson Stone, he was a chief inspector of Scotland Yard, and this is England 1886, right? So he unexpectedly becomes a duke, right? I enjoyed that his character was a little different. You know, he's very like logical thinking. When he's talking to other people of the ton, he feels very like, I don't like an ogre, because he doesn't know like all of the societal rules and all that stuff. And like he can't stop kind of comparing them to criminals, or like expecting like paranoid like that, which sure, totally. I really like that, right? And Ellie, she was betrothed to the Duke that died, and then Hudson got the title because he's like a very distant cousin. I liked her too. She was smart, very logical thinking. She's like an inventor, and all she wants to do is bring her inventions to the next expo, you know, like the World Fair Expo. Like she's really excited. She doesn't really care about marrying, but she has to do it so her younger sister can get married. So I like them as characters. I really like them as characters because they were different, you know what I mean? I think it was just the forced marriage trope that this book seemed set on doing, the kind of I just wasn't in the mood for, you know? And like I was rolling my eyes, and that's not fair because it was beautifully written. And I really liked the characters. It's just, it was so focused on the forced like marriage trope. And I like that. That could be a lot of fun, but it just didn't, I guess because I read a lot of historical romances and stuff, it just didn't jive with me, because I'm like, Ellie was like, oh, in the contract, we can't have kids till 10 years, and he argued down to like 3 months. Okay. I'm like, so why not just be betrothed for 3 months and get to know each other? Because it did feel like very insta-lusty, which you guys know I don't like it. I don't like when it's like, oh, he's hot, oh, she's hot, you know? And then there's no kind of emotional growth to that. And like, I get it, the 3 month speculation was to keep so they could get to know each other, and I get it, and like, yes, I understand. Normally I'll be like eating that shit up, you know, but like it was just really very much them getting in their own way. And I was like, you could have done this with a betrothal, and yeah, he's like a commoner or whatever, but he's a duke. You're telling me there weren't other families putting their daughters forward for him to like marry? Like, come on. Especially like, I'm saying like a lot, sorry. The Jersey girl's coming out. Now it's okay, well, So, especially at that time period, like, right? The way I was saying, like, if I was a lady of a title and in that time and I had money, because obviously the dukedom is broke and he needs to marry for money, wouldn't you rather have a husband that didn't know all the rules so you could kind of have a little agency in your marriage? Because commoner marriages back then, like, it was a little more equal than the nobility marriages, right? So I don't know, if I was like one of those ladies, I'll be like, huh, you know, he doesn't know the societal rules, so maybe like I could have a little more control over my life than just a brood mare. You know what I mean? So like, it didn't make sense to me that there was no competition for Ellie to be with him. And I thought that could have been kind of some fun moments with a little jealousy sprinkled in as they start to care for each other. So like if they're engaged for a long time, like 3 months, getting to know each other, you know, going out and about in society, other young hopefuls put themselves out there for him, and like her maybe getting a little jealous and then trying to figure out why she's getting jealous, and it could be like a fun moment for like emotional growth, you know. And the synopsis did say that like his past from being a cop was gonna get to them, and like that interested me, right? But I found the plot so boring that I just had to put it down. And it's a shame too, because I really liked the characters, you know. That's why it's a soft DNF. I think I was just not in the right headspace, you know what I mean? So I'll try it again at a later date if I remember, but I think that's what it was, because I really liked Ellie and Hudson. I thought they were interesting. It's nice to kind of have different personalities in a historical romance. I really wanted scenes with her in her lab, and up to this point we didn't get that. And like, it was kind of boom, you're in it. Like there was no chance to kind of sit with individual characters and get to know them before they come together, which was unfortunate, you know, because romance books, you root for the characters, right? So I didn't feel like I had any time to get to know them or root for them before they got married. And I know that seems kind of like silly because it's like a forced marriage trope. Still, it felt like, because everyone around them was like, well, you could like wait for a minute and like and get to know them. You don't have to like, oh, with all the likes, I'm so sorry, I don't know why it's coming out so much today. I don't know why my jersey is coming out so much today, but here we go. Everybody was you know, saying you didn't have to get married right away. You could wait a little bit. You could get to know each other. You had like one conversation and you're engaged. So it's it was just, I was like, oh boy. And then they were like, I want him so much, or I want her so much, but I can't. Oh, forbidden. Because you did that. You put that in the way of yourselves. It was just annoying me. So the plot I didn't find interesting, but the characters I really liked. So I'm going to soft DNF this, and I think I'll probably check out another book from this author later on, because I like the writing and I think the characters are interesting, and not every book hits, you know, so I might have picked just one that doesn't hit for me, right? So the second book is the contemporary cozy mystery romance, Somebody Killed His Editor, Holmes and Moriarty, book 1 by Josh Lanyon, and this is 274 pages. Now this was the one where the plot I really liked, but I did not like the main characters. I don't think you were supposed to like the main characters if I'm like thinking about it, because Holmes is what you think Holmes is. He's kind of, you're in his POV the whole time, and he's kind of jackass. But Moriarty, or JX as he's known, was kind of a jackass too. And I was like, huh. I mean, I commend this author for like each of their romance series. The characters are vastly unique, which is wonderful. And I don't think you were supposed to really adore Holmes like I do Ellery, who is another character from another series of this author. I adore him. I don't think you were supposed to, you know. So Holmes is an author that has, he keeps calling himself washed up. Apparently his sales are down. His publishing or editing, like the publishing house he's with, it fired him, things like that. His agent convinces him to go to a writer's retreat to try to claw his way back. He finds a dead body before he even makes it to the lodge. And it sets off, we're trapped in the middle of winter in the woods and a cabin with no power, and the cops can't get to us. But no worries, because JX is an ex-cop turned thriller author, and it's just him navigating, like, we're in his POV, so it's him navigating the murders that he honestly doesn't want to be a part of. And the thing that set it off from the beginning where he's not very likable is because he found the dead body, and when he goes to tell people, he's like, yeah, it's over there. Oh, I don't want to show you where it is. It's cold outside. Not because he's horrified someone's dead, but because it's cold outside. You know, so, and I think this is one of the earlier series from this author, so, like, okay, you know. They still were great. It's still a great plot. Like, again, the two characters, but the plot, the mystery of it had me interested from beginning to end. And like, which is rare for me that I didn't give about the romance aspect between, Holmes and JX. Like, I could not give, cause like, and we're in Holmes' POV, right? So JX comes off really kind of shitty. There's sometimes where he seems really nice, and then there's one moment where like he kind of chokes Holmes and says like, it would be so easy for me to kill you right now, and it's like, and it's like, this is the only way I could like convince you to stay safe. And I was like, no, red flag. Like, what do you mean? Absolutely not. Like a whole marching band of red flags. Are you kidding me with this? I was like, yeah, no. And that was close to the end. You know, and I'm not a fan of second chance romances, which was kind of what they were, because they had like a one wild weekend kind of a thing. And since we're in his POV, it was really easy to see that Holmes cared for JX, but because we're not in JX's, I don't think there was enough cues to show that like he cared about Holmes. Like, he didn't want Holmes to die, but that's kind of like the bare minimum, you know what I mean? And like, JX was like, oh, you know, you're a self-centered prick. And Holmes was like, okay. Like, there wasn't really like, because we're in Holmes, right? So automatically you kind of root for him. You might not like him, but you kind of root for him, right? So just the fact that like JX was like, oh, you're a self-centered prick, and we're, as the audience, are supposed to root for them together, I was like, yeah, no, because from where we're sitting, yeah, Holmes isn't that great, but you're kind of horrible too, my bro. Like, you're kind of a dick. Not even kind of. You are a dick. Like, you are the worst. So, and then all of a sudden in the third act, it's almost like not even the third act, like a couple of pages in the beginning of the third act, all of a sudden, you know, JX is like all cuddly and happy. And I'm like, I don't think so. No, he was too much an asshole before this. No. Because the choking thing really got to me. Like, that was like, red flag. And I get it. He's supposed to be the red herring because, ooh, Moriarty and Holmes. Ooh. But, like, he obviously didn't do it. You know what I mean? He obviously didn't do it. I do think, I'm trying to think of the mystery. I liked how the mystery ended. I enjoyed the mystery throughout the whole thing. I think, and this author, with secondary characters, making them so interesting and fun, and yet not taking over the story. Chef's kiss, masterclass at it. Wonderful, right? And I do enjoy the whole locked in a cabin in the middle of the woods, in the middle of a storm, no help is coming. I think that's fun. For mystery and romance. I think that's fun, you know? So I wasn't mad about that. I do think there was a lot of things to kind of throw you off who it really was. I did enjoy who it came out to be. I don't think there was all that many clues throughout the beginning, the first third, to like be like, oh yeah, if you read it again, you could totally pick out stuff. I think the clue started around the middle, which is okay, not the best, but not bad. You know, not bad. You know, a B, not an A, but a B, but it's not a C, right? Yeah. Okay. So, so the mystery's fun. It kept me entertained. I think that I like that the most will I continue with the series? I don't know, because really Holmes and JX, I did not like them. And I guess it's sort of like a thing, like what's more important, because I have read books before where I didn't like the characters but I root for them, like Babylon Boys by, oh, I don't remember the author, but I'll probably put it here. Them. I don't like the main character, but I root for him so hard, you know? So for them, I don't like them, but I'm not really rooting for them. But the plot was so much fun, you know, versus the first book where I really, really liked the characters, but I found the plot really boring. It's like, I don't know what's more important to me. I mean, I guess, like, I didn't think the plot keeping me engaged was more important than me, like, adoring the characters. I thought it was hand in hand, but this week showed that, you know, I care more about the plot has to engage me and be interesting, and I'll stick with it even if I don't like the main characters and don't root for them, as opposed to main characters that I like and root for, but the plot is boring. So I learned something new about myself, I guess. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, you know, they kind of get together at the end, but sort of still, you know, and Holmes, before he gets there, like, he broke with his boyfriend of 10 years who cheated on him left and right. His career's in the toilet, and, like, he needs to, like, and it was interesting with the whole publishing scene, because all of them are published authors kissing up to the editor, you know, and I was just thinking, like, I wonder if that's the same now with, like, the power of self-publishing and indie houses. I don't know if publishing companies, like traditional publishing companies, have that much power or sway as they once did, because, you know, once upon a time, if you couldn't get a contract with a publishing house, your book doesn't get published. But now it's so different, you know? So I wonder how much of that was all true. And, like, you don't feel bad for people that got killed, like at all. At one point, JX goes missing, which was interesting, and you see kind of Holmes kind of unravel, and everybody realizes Holmes really cares about him. At least people that are paying attention. The secondary characters, I like the secondary characters much more than the main characters, you know. And that's just, sometimes it happens. And sometimes authors do that on purpose. They don't want their characters to be like, because they want to, like, have them have emotional growth and everything like that. And I get it. This is loosely based off of Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty and everything. And Sherlock Holmes, brilliant, but not a very likable person. You know, different adaptations. Like, he, you know, he's mentally divergent, things like that. So make him very, like, non-socially, makes him socially inept. So he's, you know, not very kind person. He's kind of like could be a very mean person, actually. And I get it. I love the Holmes books, you know, the Sherlock Holmes series. I have them on audio tape, stuff like that. They're my go-to for road trips to listen to. So, like, I get it. But this wasn't like a one-for-one. You could have made him a little nicer. Of course, no one could compare to Ellery. He's like my little baby. I love him. But, but you know, this author does do a really good job on making their main characters, very different from each other in different series, which is good. The secondary characters, phenomenal. Plots, really interesting. I don't know if I'll read another one of this series, but I do really like this author, and I'm going to continue to read them and support them. Just, you know, just like the first book, just sometimes, you know, not everything is going to hit. You're not going to like everything from every author you read. You know, sometimes it just doesn't jive, you know, it just doesn't coalesce with you. And that's fine. That's fine. It's no big deal. So I am running on enough for today. I don't want to. It's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.